Dr. Lyle and District Governor-elect Charles from 7030 and 7020 respectively. As you may know, this is a joint meeting between the two. Welcome to District Governor Trevor and District Governor Delma, the past district governors, all who are present. I'm seeing past District Governor David on my screen right now, so I know he's here. Welcome. District Governor nominees, Sonia and Louis. District Governor nominee designate, Leslie and Deborah. Welcome also. I understand Audley Knight is also our MO. Welcome. And Rotarians and Rotaractors. I think I've covered everybody, more or less. Welcome to day 5 of our training, which is entitled Youth. And we have 4 presenters today who will take us through the various programs. 2 of them are former Rotaractors. And without further ado, I would like to pass you over to District Governor-elect Lyle, who will introduce them. Unmute yourself, please, Lyle.
Good start. You can see that I'm not in the youth category, but welcome everybody. This is where the future of Rotary is, our youth. And this evening, it is such a pleasure to introduce 4 dynamic young women who will help us by taking us through presentation on youth. So I would first of all like to say thank you very much to past Rotary International President Barry Racine for his support in this project, and to our district trainer Nigel and the entire training team. So do we have a photograph of our wonderful presenters to put up on the screen so that I can introduce them according to their photograph? Okay, so we're going to start with Luana Faulkner, past president, past assistant governor from Guyana. She's a member of the Rotary Club of Starbrook in Guyana. And I hope I pronounced that correctly. And Luana is a Paul Harris Fellow +1. Luana has been the secretary of her club as many as 4 times, president in 2012-13, and has served on her board in many capacities. She is the Interact Chair for this year, District Interact Chair, and she will continue in that role for next year. Luana is the Chief Executive of the company with which she works and is quite a powerhouse. Diana Brown from Antigua, the Rotary Club of Antigua Sundown. She's currently the secretary, but she's a past president also. And Diana was the DRR in 2001-2. Diana has a passion for service to the less fortunate. She is our RILA Chair 2020-2021. And she is a finance professional, and she enjoys reading, cooking, and watching crime movies on TV. And Diana is actually working on a novel at the moment, which she hopes to publish soon. And the next 2 presenters today, Giselle Colette Holder, a Paul Harris Fellow as well. She is the current secretary of the Rotary Club of Maraval. She is the president-elect for the Rotary Club of Maraval. And wait for it, she is also agreed to serve as the DRR for 2020-2021. Not DRR, the District Rotaract Chair for 2020-21. She's passionate about bringing value to the youth through youth empowerment and service. She has an MSc in facility management, and Giselle is just a bundle of energy. So look out, District 7030. Rotaract is on the front burner for sure. Last but by no means least, we have Tamira La Cruz. Tamira is a member of the Rotary Club of Curacao since 2010. For those that don't know, the ABC Islands moved across here in no small part. It was in fact in a great part due to past Rotary International President Barry Racine that the ABC Islands left District 4370 and came over to District 7030 in, I'm going to say, 2017. I may be corrected on that. And Tamira was actually the district conference chair for District 4370 in 2012. That's when Curacao was still in that district. She's led numerous Rotary Exchange programs in Curacao since 2013, more than a dozen exchanges already. And she is the current RILA chair, and she hands over to Diana at the end of June. And she is the new generation's service exchange chair for our district for 2020-2021. She is a consultant and provides technical assistance to, amongst other things, multilateral donors. So, fellow Rotarians, there you have the four dynamic young women who will present to us today. I am sitting in great anticipation. It's going to be great. So we're starting off with Interact, and that will be presented, as you can see, by Luana.
Luana, we're not hearing you.
Sorry, this is a custom C. I'm not a friend of Zoom. Okay, thank you, DG Lyle, and good evening, fellow Rotarians. We have 4 slides and a lot to say, and just 10 minutes, so let me jump right in. My presentation this evening is going to focus on the District Interact Committee's plans for the coming Rotary year. Before we get to the meat of the presentation, let me just give you an overview of the district as far as Interact goes. We have 67 clubs in the district, and out of the 67, we have 64 that are school-based and 4 are community-based. Trinidad has the highest concentration of Interact clubs with 39. And then we go down, there's a gap between 39 and then the next one I think is 4, which is Antigua. So right away you can see we have a lot of work to do. Now in the last 2 years, 26 clubs were terminated. Not sure why, but we plan on getting to the bottom of the reasons why so many clubs were terminated over a period of 2 years. Informal data also suggests that number of interactors actually transition to Rotaract. We're going to try to understand why this is so, and is it that the sponsor clubs are not nurturing or engaging our youths enough to keep them motivated and interested in Rotary. So the presentation this evening will focus on 3 broad areas. 1, building stronger clubs. 2, developing strong relationships between Rotary, Rotaract, and Interact, and cultivating future leaders. Now, to build a strong club, we have to understand what is going on in the club. The District Interact Committee will therefore circulate a health check so that we could get a sense of what the club's needs are and how the district and the sponsor clubs can offer support. Among other things, how meetings are run, the extent of membership participation. Why am I so far? Oh, yeah, sorry. Whether there's an understanding of club administration, record keeping, accountability, how involved is the sponsor club? This is an important aspect of the health check that we really can't wait to see the results. Identify what specific training or interventions is needed for each specific club. So while we will have a training plan developed across the board, which will speak mainly to the roles and responsibilities of members, there are some clubs that the needs will be different from the other clubs, and we will also try to accommodate training to address those needs. Developing strong relationships between Rotaract and Interact and Rotary. And we want sponsor clubs to be more engaged with interactors this year. We want sponsor clubs to engage them in such a way as to whet their taste buds for Rotary. Yesterday, past RI President Ian Risley said that building a strong membership base is one of the most important tasks facing Rotary at the moment. So when we look at our interactors as a sponsor club, as Rotarians, we must see the future of Rotary, and our engagements with them must be nurturing so that we can keep them in the Rotary family. Some of the actions we want these sponsor clubs to take include director for the sponsor club visiting Interact on a regular basis. We want them to provide guidance on their projects. We want them to feel and know that the sponsor club is interested in what they're doing. So when you invite them to Rotary meetings, have them report on their projects. We want sponsor clubs to interact at least one joint project for the year. And we're encouraging Rotaract to be involved. I'd like to recommend that DGE's project challenge on childhood obesity be the project that all the three Rotary families can collaborate on. We would like to include the sponsor clubs to include retention and nurturing strategies into their strategic plans, so we will know that sponsor clubs are serious about nurturing Interact. Invite them to your fellowships, and this has an added benefit that older Rotarians like DG Lyle can possibly feel young again. Actually, I learned from Interact in Guyana, so there are lots of added benefits to having the young people around. Now, a quick informal survey of our district. I didn't see that I've spoken to suggest that less than 5% of interactors transition to Rotaract annually. Now, this percentage is extremely very low and is something that we need to collectively address and find out why it is that we're not keeping our interactors. Some countries told me about migration, some told me about affordability. But, you know, -5% is too low, and even if we can get up to 50%, it is going to help our Rotary family to grow. Transitioning to Rotaract is the easiest way for Rotaract to grow their membership base. So we shouldn't take lightly the fact that it is not transitioning. So next year we will attempt to find out why. And one of the things, that's why we're asking sponsor clubs to encourage strong relationships between Rotaract and Interact, so that those who would want to transition or are not sure if they want to transition, it would make the decision easier to transition into Rotaract. So we have to try to keep our interactors in the Rotary family. future leaders. Now, the challenge I think Rotary has at the moment is determining whether we are cultivating the leaders that we need for tomorrow. We must recognize that tomorrow's leaders will have to deal with challenges unseen by previous generations. And we should ask ourselves how Rotary can help our young and vibrant potential leaders develop these essential skills that they will need to navigate their way to success, not only in Rotary, but generally. It has been established that one of the top 5 ways to prepare individuals to develop their potential is through training. So with that in mind, the District Interact Committee will propose a series of to run their respective clubs, to become strong, effective leaders, and at the same time, prepare them as much as possible for adulthood. Some will argue that the latter is not our responsibility, preparing them for adulthood. But I would argue equally strong that it is our responsibility, because these young people are the future of Rotary and the future of the world. So the training that we will have next year, the training for board members, I would have gone through the topics before, but the other topics we want to include to help them to develop as young leaders would include like enhancing the Rotary, the Interact experience, career guidance, leadership development, the importance of volunteerism, and what Rotary has to offer them as young people. So, what will be our first steps going into the new Rotary year? The District Interact Committee will circulate a listing, because we want to get a sense of all the Interact clubs in the district, who the sponsor clubs are, and who the president is. Needless to say, there's limited information available in our district as regards to Interact, so we will try to also put together data on future district committees going forward. The health check will be circulated, and it should be completed by the Interact Club boards, and we are depending heavily on the assistant governors and the sponsor clubs to ensure that this health check is completed and returned in a timely manner, because programs going forward for specific clubs, and we really would like to get our program completed for the year. We don't want to not be able to complete planned activities because of lack of information. So I'm pleading with the AGs and the sponsor clubs, please ensure that we get this information back. Because the results of the health check will trigger actions to be taken, and the needs that we need to address. I also need volunteers to serve on the District Interact Committee, so I will be asking the AGs to please assist in sending out a request that will be submitted through the district secretary, because this committee can't be a one-man show, so we'd like to have as many people as possible. In a perfect world, we will have at least 1 or 2 Rotarians sitting per country, sitting on the District Interact Committee. That would be a dream come true for me. All in all, the district committee is to support sponsor clubs in engaging their interactors. We will be willing to deliver training and talks as required. And generally, we stand ready to assist in whatever way. All I'm asking is that let's work together to make Rotaract all that it should and could be in the district. So questions will be entertained at the end of the 4 presentations. Nigel, I'm good for time? Yeah?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Good. So it is now my distinct pleasure to hand you over to past President Diana Brown, who will now deliver her presentation on RILA 2021.
Good evening, everyone. My task tonight is to speak on RILA, and my presentation is short and to the point, and it's basically going to touch on what RILA is, RILA 2021, and what the planning committee needs from sponsoring Rotary Club. Rotary Youth Leadership Award, or RYLA, is an intensive leadership experience organized by Rotary clubs and districts where young people can develop leadership skills while having fun and making connections. The first RYLA was officially adopted in 1971 by Rotary International. RYLA 2021 will be in the lovely island of Antigua and Barbuda that has 365 beaches. What are the benefits of hosting in Antigua and Barbuda? First, there are direct and one-stop airline connections from all islands, conference facilities and accommodation. And in Antigua, as Luan pointed out, we have 5 active Interact clubs and 1 Rotaract club. For RYLA, we are looking at a holistic program that will teach the participants about Rotary, the Rotary family, because we realize that it's important for our interactors to transition to Rotaract, and then our Rotaractors to transition to Rotary. So we will look at topics such as leadership skills, communication skills, problem solving and conflict management, building self-esteem and confidence, which the planning committee finds that a lot of young people, this is a very good topic for them because a lot of them may have self-esteem and self-confidence issues, so we want to touch on that. Community and global citizenship and entrepreneurship. Our progress to date, the planning committee was officially formed in February of this year, 2020, and we are looking at a tentative date of April 2021 to have RYLA. Our meetings were put on hold briefly because of COVID-19, but we expect to resume our meetings from June next year. We are also cognizant of the fact that COVID-19 is out there, so we will also be exploring the possibility of having a virtual event in case COVID continues. This platform where we're actually having pets online has opened up a whole new world for us. So we will actually explore, in case COVID continues, the possibility of having a virtual event. So what do we need from sponsoring Rotary clubs? We really need your support for RYLA to be a success, and it's our future leaders. We need the support of sponsoring Rotary Club, and we would like for sponsor club to commit to sending at least 1 interactor or Rotaractor from your club. And in closing, see you in Antigua. This slide, the Antigua Club, we actually started a program back in 2018 where we tested the water and we had a RYLA. So the photo that you're seeing on the screen is actually the inaugural RYLA where our 5 Interact clubs came together, and we also brought up 20 interactors from Montserrat. So that was a 1-day event and it was a resounding success. So we really hope to see everyone there. Thank you, Merci. I will now turn over to Giselle.
Thank you very much, Diana. And a special welcome before I start to all our Rotaractors out there. I know you guys are full of energy. I'm seeing the chat on fire, and I'm just hoping that it's about sharing good things about Rotaract and of course all the other youth services that are represented here this evening. I do want to make special mention to our DRR leadership that we have present with us here tonight. We have DRR Anya and Tate, I'm not sure if he's there, but he's still getting a shout out. DRR-elect Kiban and Trevor, DRR nominees Mario and Marcus Son, who's what is really excited about him, he's going to be the first DRR from Haiti. That is exceptional. And our DRR designate Justin. So special good evening to you guys, and we'll get right into it. So I'm hoping by now Rotaract is not a stranger to anyone in this presentation, right? Rotaract, to me right now, we're about defining new things in Rotaract, but to just make sure we're all on the same page, I did put in this slide to just jog our memory a bit. So we have Rotaract as we know it. Rotaract's a Rotary program, a youth program. It's for individuals 18 to 30. Typically, a Rotaract club is sponsored by one Rotary club, or you may have multiple Rotary clubs coming on board. And in terms of the internal structure for a Rotaract club, well, you would hear me say we a lot, though I'm no longer a Rotaractor, you're always a Rotaractor, right? We pay dues within their Rotaract structure. Membership is usually counted only within that Rotaract structure. So it's a program, right, as defined by Rotary, and so it's all contained, okay? So moving right along into what Rotaract looks like post the 2019 Council of Legislation. So that slide went a little bit quickly, but I know we all remember the Elevate Rotaract campaign, right? Really, it was very fantastic, very, I think the first of its kind in terms of seeing Rotaract so well represented and so actively pushed for and argued for in a legislation council meeting. So that was really fantastic. And we have our past RI President Barry here, who I do want to say thank you for helping spearhead this great effort. Moving on from that, our present RI President, Mark, he would have come up with the Elevate Rotaract Task Force. And Luana, I would have to ask you to go back one slide, please, because I'm not finished. Thank you. Right, and through the Elevate Rotaract Task Force, what happened is that Rotaract literally was just excluded. And what we found coming out of the Council of Legislation was that Rotaract was changed from a Rotary program, right, to actually a form of membership of Rotary. So if you could cast your mind back to both yesterday's presentation and for our 70-30 Rotarians, when there was another previous membership presentation done, Rotaract was mentioned simply because we now actually add, well, we will soon add to the numbers of Rotarians generally in the count, in the global count. So that is the first major thing that was done and sort of turned, as I said, everything on its head in an extremely good way, right? So what we're talking about now is Rotary defining, with consultation, of course, with our Rotaractors, long-term membership growth goals, because it's all going to impact our entire organization in the long run. So you have goals for as soon as 2022 and ranging on to 2029. Another thing that was phenomenal, and I wish that I had retained my membership in Rotaract Club of Port of Spain West for this, there is no longer an age limit. Can you believe it? So all of you sitting there, yes, you can be a Rotaractor to an extent, right? So what it meant was that, you know, it's still a little ambiguity, but basically what it means is that, yes, it's a youth membership, right? But the idea is that it's no longer this, you have to leave by 30, no longer this very rigid mark, because what was noted, and it has been felt by so many Rotaractors along the way, was that, you know, we didn't feel ready at 30. You know, we felt like we could have done so much more as a Rotaractor. And while many of us stayed on, many of us left, right? And by leaving doesn't mean joining Rotary, it meant leaving the entire organization. So what I think this was aiming to help us to allow us to retain these vibrant, beautiful people to be part of our organization and letting them choose when they are ready to leave, right? But still keeping in mind it is a youth-based organization. And then another thing that I'm not sure many Rotarians are aware of, We're also going to allow our Rotaractors, give them the opportunity, especially for new clubs, to actually become chartered with or without a Rotary sponsor. So I glanced some of the questions in the chat, and I know persons were talking about the financial dependency of a Rotaract club and stuff, but this is actually one of the ways that could be alleviated if a Rotaract club should choose to have another Rotaract club, be it sponsor, or maybe decide to go it on its own. But we'll get more into that financial dependency or perceived financial dependency in the Q&A section. So thanks, Luana. I can go on to the other slide. Okay, so we see now the difference, right? We see where we've moved from a program, from a very sort of rigorous structure, 18 to 30, you know, Rotaractors sort of being contained in itself, to now being full-blown, where a level of membership in Rotary, more or less, you know, decisions could be made, you know, the way in which the age limit is treated, all this would be part of an ongoing collaboration. Because what's going to happen, this is the first time we're dealing with it. We have no benchmark, we have no reference point. So what we're going to do, we must work with what information we have, and then our own respective districts' interpretation of that data. So I actually got the opportunity to speak with the current Rotaract chair of, I think her district is 7600, Alex Ritchie, and just bouncing off some ideas on her as to how did she see that age limit, you know, because I think that will be one of the key things our Rotaractors, along with our Rotary leadership, would have to sort of think about. And, you know, I suggested to her, which was coming out of a meeting with our own district Rotaract leadership, that maybe something like 35 years for leadership positions and under, but allowing the Rotaract to take a 36, you want to be a Rotaract, no problem, but still encouraging and having a focus on that Rotaract element, right? So that's on that youth element, sorry. And I think that is something, one of the things we could feel through and see what really makes sense for us in our respective districts. We also have the benefit of documents that will be used. So we have our plans and objectives that will be defined by our DRRs, both incoming and outgoing. We have revised Rotaract documents that will also be available to us, such as the standard constitution, right? So these things are going to be those documents that just help us get more information. And we should be getting those revised documents on or before July this year, right? So it's very good for us to know what we have available to us, what we can reference, but remembering that this is all a guide, right? Because it needs to make sense to us as we do it day to day. The DRC committee also remains available. We have the DRC committee represented as both a combination of our Rotary and our Rotaract. So what we do, we actually have it even out, right? As defined in the Rotaract handbook and by RI. It comprises 4 Rotarians, 4 Rotaractors. That's how we interpret it in 70/50. And it's co-chaired by the current DRR and current district Rotaract chair, right? So it's very funny because every year I think we actually ask for volunteers. We get sometimes, we don't get sometimes, but this year for sure, guys, we need persons on this committee who have a passion for youth, have a passion to see our Rotaractors really go from strength to strength. So I'm also going to do a plug here specifically for French and or Dutch Rotarians to be represented, because our Rotaractors are already represented and they use the 4 sitting leaders, right? So who I would have mentioned at the beginning, the current DRR, the incoming, and the other 3 incoming, they sit on the committee, which makes sense because they get to see the progression of the growth of Rotaract over the next few years, right? And of course, within each club, we have our Rotaract ambassadors, we have our new generation officers, and these are the persons appointed by our Rotary club. So on that level now, to actually be that liaison between the Rotary club and the Rotaract club. And we really, really need that to happen in each and every club, I know sometimes it may be bundled into another arm of service, right? You may put it with services or service projects, sorry. But the idea is that I'm really asking for every Rotary Club representative here today to take the time to appoint someone who can really share this singly, because it's going to be a year of many firsts, and we need someone in each club to also be able to work with your Rotary Club to help with the implementation, to help with the understanding, right? And to be that support service. So on to the next slide, Luana. So what do we want to see? I purposefully did not add any plans and objectives because those will come. We have our plans and objectives document that will be circulated to all our Rotarians. But the idea is that as a Rotaractor, as a Rotarian, we really need to work on our mindset. How do we even begin to think of the new year? You know, we need those lofty ways of thinking from strategy straight down to the tactical execution level, right? So as a Rotaractor, what I'm really asking you to do is discuss these changes within your Rotaract Club. Luana, I need you to please go back, sorry about that. Right, I'm asking you to please discuss with your Rotaract clubs, your members. Just think about all the changes. Think about the ways in which we're going to interpret this for your club, right? What does it mean now working with your sponsor club? What does it mean now for new Rotaract club, new person sitting down thinking about being able to join this organization? How is that going to be done? So while we have our guidelines in the Constitution, we'll have our handbook, we'll have our bylaws, we'll have our manual of procedures, how are we really going to execute this on a club level? And that's really what we're looking for. We need you as Rotaractors to share your ideas. Even before COVID, or as I saw someone refer to it today, BC, right? We really valued as Rotarians your innovation, your creativity, your ability to be different. And that is needed even more so with both the combination of this new form of membership as well as post-COVID, or while we're within this COVID-19 pandemic. We need that thinking out of the box. So even us having this pets virtually, right? Of course, our hands were forced by COVID-19, but still think of the reach, because I know there would have been many Rotaractors, even Rotarians, who may not have been able to attend the physical training. So what an opportunity for us, right? And as a Rotaractor, I do encourage you to continue being wonderful. You are dynamic, you have the advantage of youth on your side, and use it. When you are pinned as a Rotaractor, I know it's not a small thing for you, it's something very huge, something very life-changing. And we need that to be reflected within everything that you do, with whom you interact with, right? And of course, our focus as in all things is to grow Rotaract within our organization, because when we grow Rotaract, we grow Rotary, and we grow more people in this world that we need in terms of that positive change. The next slide, please, Luana. So as a Rotarian now, when we're talking of these changes, right? Once again, I'm reiterating that we do need on that club level, we need that new generations officer, whatever you choose to call them, right? You call them a youth officer, you call them a Rotaract ambassador, whatever you would like to call them. Just ensure there's someone there who has a Rotaract focus, right? All the time, right? And your role there is to plan with your Rotaract leadership. And for those of you who may be saying, well, I don't have a Rotaract club, well, this is your opportunity to even work with an existing Rotaract club within your community or within one of the neighboring schools, or charter a new one. But of course, think of the need, think of the community that you're working with, think of the sustainability, right? Because we don't just want to also go around there chartering new clubs that are then left, you know, sort of abandoned, right? It needs to be done with some longevity, right? With sustainability in mind. Continue to provide that support, ask questions, right? All of this is new to us in terms of the changes to Rotaract, and we need that ongoing collaboration. We need that constant interaction, because we're not necessarily going to get it right. Okay, but we need that sort of iterative approach so that we are able to eventually get it right and do even better. So be proud of your Rotaractors and help us to grow Rotaract together. And I believe I'm going on to my last slide. So just as some parting words here, I just wanted to remind everyone of Rotaractors, right? And what it means to be a Rotaractor. So I did ask our Rotaractors informally in the 7060 WhatsApp chat, you know, what did Rotaract mean to them? What did being a Rotaractor mean to them? And this nice diagram you see on the page really was some of the keywords. The only word I left out, I now realize, was vibes, right? That was also one of the key takeaways from the exercise. But I mean, you couldn't sum it up any better in terms of it's about friendship, it's about networking, it's about projects, it's about passion, right? But I also want to remind everyone here that Rotaractors are professionals. Let us never forget that. Right? These are young persons, yes, so these are young persons on the move and on the rise. They are our future, right? In terms of leadership positions beyond Rotary, right? Within our countries, within the world. And so that is something for us as Rotarians to be very, very excited about, because we have an opportunity here to work with them. We have an opportunity here to help mold them, to help collaborate with them. And why not take that? Rotaractors are also persons who love what they do and know how to have fun. That is reflected in almost everything, whether it be a service project, whether it be a meeting. And I think sometimes we forget that as Rotarians. I think we sometimes get a little bit stuffy. Maybe it's the jacket, I don't know. But the idea is that we need to remember what we're here for. We're here for fellowship as well. Nothing is wrong with that. Right? We're here to talk to each other. We're here to laugh. We're here to relax. And we're Caribbean people. So that's what we do naturally. Right? So Rotaractors are also very hands-on service oriented. So I know there's the constant questions of, you know, how do we get Rotaractors to come to Rotary, to join our clubs? But guys, if all we're doing is signing checks, right? How are we gonna attract someone who's accustomed getting the job done themselves, getting their hands dirty, whether it be metaphorically or actually literally, right? We need to think about these things because they have a mindset of being service oriented, and it's something to, as Rotarians, if we already have it, we need to improve on it. And if we don't have it, we certainly need to get it. And remember, even more so, especially with the elevation of Rotaract from a program to a type of membership, Rotaractors are Rotary. They're not the future of Rotary, they are Rotary. That is the opportunity that we've been given. I've gone back to the we because I feel passionate about this. That is the opportunity we've been given as Rotaractors here to be pinned right next to a Rotarian, right? Think about that, guys. You have the opportunity to make a difference in a very real way, and why not take it? So that is it here for me today, and I do hand you over to the last youth service presentation to Tamira. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Giselle, for a very inspiring presentation. The next step for Rotaractors is to go on exchange. Fellow Rotarians and Rotaractors, good evening, bonsoir, bon noche, goedenavond. It's my pleasure to share with you some of information about a New Generations Services Exchange. It's a program that our Rotary Club started, or the district started maybe a year ago, and we're looking to roll it out to the rest of the district. The call to action is we need some committee members from across the district. And number two, we can do exchanges not only outside of the district, but also within our district, so that we can share experiences with regard to climate change and things that, that all our countries face. So the call to action is twofold: committee members and exchange within the region. So what is the New Generation Services Exchange? It's a short-term customizable program for university students and professionals age 18 to 30. Participants can design exchanges that combine their professional goals with a humanitarian project. Both people from the Rotary family and others can participate, so you do not have to be or have been a Rotaractor or an Interactor or a Rotarian. The exchange need not be reciprocal, but we do prefer that so that we can guarantee that we have host families. The duration is between 2 weeks and 6 months. That's not on the slide. It's between 2 weeks and 6 months. May I have the next slide, please? I'll share with you some stories of the pilot cases that we did. So Gideon, the gentleman on the left, he is from Curacao. He went from Curacao on an exchange to Brazil, Sao Paulo, in May of 2019. He stayed for about 12 days. He works for the Curacao Hotel and Tourism Association, and Curacao would like to strengthen its position in Brazil as a tourism destination. So Gideon's employer, the Tourism Association, provided a scholarship for him to go there. He visited travel agents, got a feel for the Brazilian market. He already spoke Portuguese, as self-taught, and so he also got a chance to present at a district conference in Brazil. He also did community service. He's not a Rotaractor, so could you go back a slide? We're not there yet. Yes. He also did some community service and made presentations at several Rotary clubs. He stayed with a daughter of the New Generations chair in Sao Paulo. She has a young family. His experience was very much within a family. That is what we are used to from Brazil. We sent many students to Brazil also, so it's a very family-oriented country. In an evaluation, Gideon's boss said they would do it again because then they can explore more markets that are interesting for Curacao tourism. In exchange, we got Carol and Deborah in July. The ladies came, they're both 28. Carol is a lawyer. She was an Interactor and is now the Rotaract trainer for Brazil. Deborah, her friend Deborah, is a pharmacist, also on the Rotaract board, and a pharmacist in veterinary practice. Their mission to Curacao was to share their experiences with Rotaract. We have a relatively long Rotaract club, so they wanted to share experience, projects, etc. And they wanted to visit as many beaches as they could, and which they did. They also met, and you can see Anya, I hope you can see yourself. They met DRR Anya Blankendal in Curacao at the same time. They did community service with Rotaract as well as with the local volunteer bank. Our fellows took them to the court because our court is in Dutch, of course, and then they speak English. They did speak English, so they cannot follow a real court session, but they got a tour. They went to the hospital pharmacy because one of them is a pharmacist. They went to the new hospital that we have. One of our fellows was training to be a tour guide, so they got the tour in Portuguese because he was trying to learn Portuguese. They stayed in the apartment of a Rotarian. They rented a car. They drove around. They hung out a lot because they're older adults, professionals. And we also got to know very well the Brazilian consul in Curacao because they hung around with her also. As we were trying to develop the program, we went to the volunteer bank, and there we learned, for instance, that the lady in charge there had done the similar thing many years ago in New York City. She spent time doing social work there and went to several places. And immediately she offered her house. She said, the next visitors you have, they can come to my house, I will host them. So we have a new house where people can stay. The chair in Brazil said, well, you can send our students, send your people, they can come to summer school, summer university sessions in Brazil. I think it's no cost, so they could do that. We also try to send some people, you know, because we're trying to find people to go to a conference a technology conference in Latin America, the largest one in Latin America. It's in Brazil, so they could have gone around that time. We haven't done that yet. We've looked at tour guides in Curacao who would be very good ambassadors for our country to go to Sao Paulo and to have a, let's say a scholarship or a merit or a credit for what they are doing for the country. And as I said, I'd like to see some exchange within our district so that we can share our experiences with regard to climate change or sustainable development goals. May I have the next slide, please? What's the difference with other exchange programs? We have the student exchange, or RI has a student exchange. The NGSC is for adults, professionals, as Giselle said, not children. So there are no child protection issues. In the student exchange, the district needs to be certified. With NGSC, it doesn't need to be certified because they're adults. They are not going to school. In the student exchange, it's very easy. They do an exchange and then they will go to school. But when they are professionals, you need to develop a program for each one individually, and that is a little bit challenging. And I'll speak to what we would like them to do in advance. I know the district and just RI had Rotary group study exchanges, I should say, study exchanges. The NGSC is not group, but you can go with 2 people, like the Brazilians who came to Curacao, and there's not a leader. It's just the people traveling, just the exchange people traveling. May I have the next slide, please? May I have the next slide? Yes. Where can the participants go? In principle, they can go anywhere there is a Rotary Club. It would be good if they contacted the Rotary Club, contacted the country, so they know there is a program there and what they can do there, etc. They should keep in mind the timing. Many countries prefer if students came around the summertime, because, or students or exchange people came around summertime, because it's a little bit lower season, things are not that hectic. Remember, Brazil, for instance, or Australia is on the other side of the equator, so the summer and the winters are different. Remember, you can choose anywhere, but you have to pay your ticket. So choose according to your budget. May I have the next slide, please? What is the cost? The host family provides free room and board. If it is a direct exchange, that works out very well, because you provide a room and board in your country, and then you go to the other country and you get free room and board there. Otherwise, you know, you provide a free room and board here, but you don't get anything in reverse or in exchange. It doesn't matter, but so that you know that. Participant pays, in principle, its own ticket. Participant must have a medical insurance, get some medical certificates, do some tests, etc. before they leave their country. We're going to propose an administration fee, so we can provide them with some giveaways when they go to the country, and some nice t-shirts and stuff like that. You need to take some pocket money, especially because they are adults, professionals. They will, you know, the Brazilian ladies who came, they went on a tour to a different island, you know, boating and this and that, so that costs money. A Rotary Club or an employer, as was the case in Curacao, can offer scholarship. That's not a problem. So that's a possibility too. May I have the next slide, please? What is expected from the participant? As I said, take the lead. You're adults, they're professionals. Select your country, what you would like to do, what your takeaways would like, what you would like your takeaways to be. Then contact a Rotary Club in your country to sponsor you. Again, it's a sponsor as a nomination. It's not a financial sponsor per se. Fill in the form. I've put a form now on the Rotary Facebook page, Rotary District's Facebook page, events and activities. It's there now, so you can find it. It's a rather extensive form. Once you're there, be a good ambassador for your country and for the district. There are 4 Ds in the exchange program: no drugs, dating, drinking, and driving. That's not going to happen with professionals, adults, but that is the basis. Once you're there, you must make some presentations to the Rotary Club, or Rotary Club in your host country when you return, and presentations when you are there. For instance, Brazil, I'm mentioning Brazil because we have a lot of experience with them. They are very adamant about visiting all Rotary clubs in the district, or as many as possible, about making presentations, about fellowship with Rotarians. So the participants should be, as I said, Gideon was not in the Rotary family. So before he left, he visited the Rotary clubs here. He had some time with Rotaract. We also have them do some project with a Rotary family before they go, if that's possible. Could I have the next slide, please? What is expected from the sponsoring club or the district? It is a district event or task, but anyway, they're sponsoring clubs. We expect you to encourage your applicants, interview candidates, seek host families. Again, they don't have to be the Rotary family, any family. And interview the host family at their home so that you have an idea of the house where the person will be staying. Develop a program for each visitor, for each incoming visitor. Provide a counselor, someone independent, not on the NGSC committee. So when someone has issues, they don't like, something with the host or anything like that, they have someone to turn to. There's some administration, of course, paper going back and forth, and provide fellowship for incoming NGSC participants. Like in our case, we went hiking, lunch, all kinds of things with dancing with our visitors. Could I have the next slide, please? What is expected from the host family? To provide room and board, to share. You don't need to go to the restaurant with the people, just provide room and board at home. That's good enough. Of course, once you can go out once or twice. Share about the host country. So tell them about your country and your customs, but also learn about the participant's country and customs, and allow the participant time with the Rotary family. The student exchanges that we've done in Curacao, they've all gone to Brazil. They stayed 5 weeks in the summer, and they came back speaking fluent Portuguese, because in Brazil no one speaks English, or very little English anyway. I was at the RI convention in Toronto. I met a lot of exchange chairs who really wanted to do exchanges with our region. So the opportunities are there. May I have the next slide, please? I think that would be the last slide. So we want some committee members. On the picture is Gideon at the Soccer Museum in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. And on the bottom is, to the left, the host, Alba Martin, then the two exchange students or professionals, and myself. Last slide, please. Thank you. Thank you, merci, and dank u wel.
Thank you very much, ladies, for those presentations, and certainly to the passionate one and appeal by Giselle. You could see you are a former Rotaractor, and Rotaractor still at heart. We have a couple questions, and in no direct order. One of them, Luan, is it's more of a comment, and if you could just a few words on it. Why don't we have interactors mentored by Rotaractors? You want to comment on that, Luan?
Well, in my presentation, I did say that Rotaract should be involved and breed the familiarity between Interact and Rotaract and make the transition easier. So yes, that is something the committee will definitely support. It must be done because the age difference between Rotaract and Interact is closer than it is between Interact and Rotary. So they can relate much better to the younger ones. So yes, I support that fully for sponsor clubs to do.
Okay, and this next question was for Diana. Diana, the RILA cost, there are two questions actually. Do you know the cost for RILA next year? Because people want to do their planning for next year and they want to include it in their budget. So has your committee come up with a cost if we have the live RILA?
No, we have not come up with the cost as yet. We're hoping that by August, September, we can start to send out information with a cost. I'm sure everyone would agree that because of Corona, everything had to be placed on hold. Potential sponsors that we were looking at, it's kind of on hold. But what we're hoping is by August, September, we can have a cost and send out information, because we do appreciate that clubs will need to plan and put it in their budget.
Nigel, you're on mute.
Thank you, Lyle. Giselle, one of the questions that are coming through here is what's the difference between a Rotary sponsored Rotaract club and a Rotaract club that sponsors itself? What's the difference between the Rotary and the Rotaract club?
That's really a future question, but it's okay. Well, basically, it's for us to sort of think about, because we are going to be guided, as I shared in the presentation, by the documentation that RI will develop. And hopefully that should bring some more clarity. But for now, what it would simply mean is that we have existing Rotaract clubs and even future Rotaract clubs that would have a Rotary club, helping them along with their charter, getting the members together, and stuff like that, as opposed to a group of persons can come together. I think it's typically about 15 persons. I go to say it's 18 to 30, but no, it's not, right? And the idea is that they can come together, they could go through their applications, and they could get chartered, right? So that's what it's going to mean, that it's not going to necessarily mean that I'm being chartered as Rotary Club, under the Rotary Club of Maraval. But as I said, you can see the amount of gray area there, right? So that'll be something that we'll need to work on as to how do we define this? What is going to be the process? And as I said, hopefully we'll be guided by the RI guidelines.
Nige, you're muted again. But just to add to that, Giselle, every Rotary Club or Rotaract Club has to be first approved by the sitting district governor. Therefore, the process would be that it has to go to the governor, and if it's a worthwhile Rotaract Club, they'll get approved. Same thing with a Rotary Club now. You don't have to have a sponsor club. You can sponsor, you can do your own thing, but that is the check and balance right there. The district governor has to put it forward to Rotary International, has to approve it, sign off on it. Nigel, okay, you're back.
Yeah, this one is, I believe, from Lindsay. 10% of the Rotary Club of East Nassau are former Rotaractors. 92% are transitioning Rotaractors are still Rotarians. How? Largely due to their own perseverance, the Rotaract Club of East Nassau was formed with the stated intention of being tied to our club and no other. This led to a symbolic relationship that still exists. We do fundraisers together, we attend each other's board meetings, with a Rotarian being assigned to the Rotaract Club as an advisor. We have Rotaract Day, and he goes on to say the incredible stats of 10% of the membership being from Rotaract and 92% remaining over the last 7 years. And I think that is actually quite a great recipe for Rotary, Rotaract moving forward in our districts in particular. One of the other questions, and this is for Luana, what are the responsibilities of the school with the school Interact Club? Is there any responsibility from the school?
Yes, the school is supposed to facilitate the Interact Club in terms of making available a classroom or any other space within the school to meet, and any other needs the club might have that has to be addressed by the school. There's no defined role outside of that. And the club liaison is usually a member of the faculty who also coordinates the activities of the club and will speak to the school's administration on behalf of the club also.
Thank you, Luana. Okay, so we have a few minutes, so I just want to bring in the two district governors here. Lyle, what is the one thing would you like to see with your clubs in District 70 and 30 regarding youth service going forward next year?
One thing would be to enhance the youth services, because we have Rotaract, we have Interact, we have Early Act, we have RILA, we have New Gen Service Exchange, and we have, well, we don't, but I'm a believer in Youth Exchange. Love to see us establish Outbound at least, but that's probably not going to happen in 2020, 2021. So really and truly, I want to see Rotary clubs take seriously our responsibility to support the youth. And I really would like to see Rotaract become far more prominent in our day-to-day Rotary meetings. I think I should stop and let Charles have his say on that one.
District Governor-elect Charles, the same question. What one thing would you like to see for clubs in your district in 70-20 in your coming year? District Governor-elect Charles, are you there?
Okay, hello. Hi, so I think I heard now. Certainly one of the things I would to add on to what Lyle would have just suggested is probably a way of managing our youth service going forward. One of the travesties I've seen in a number of clubs is there is one person who's identified for each of the programs, whether it's Interact or even a liaison with Rotaract. And what tends to happen is burnout in one instance, but certainly the Interact club or the Rotaract club doesn't really get the sense of buy-in by that club as a support to them. So I'd really want to encourage the clubs for the programs that you are doing to really manage by committee. And I know past District Governor Felix talked a little bit about this when he talked about membership, that don't manage these type of portfolios with one person. Use a committee so they can really feel the sense of the energy, the creativity, the uniqueness of your club and the difference of your club. And that also helps in the program being sustained, because when you lose persons, and I was listening to our presenters who all are really excited about the program, but if they get faint-hearted and get tired, then who's going to pick up the slack if no one else has been following on the program? So I want to encourage that we do manage by committee. And the second thing very quickly would be to promote them like how we promote our own projects in Rotary. Get them the visibility, the public recognition, make sure that your communities can see what your Interact, your Rotaract, and other programs are doing as you do with your Rotary clubs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DG Charles. It would be remiss of me, and first of all, before I finish here, I just want to apologize earlier on, in case you didn't realize it, I omitted to mention past Rotary International President Barry in my opening remarks, and Lyle in his very subtle way slapped me on the wrist when he mentioned him. I know Lyle only too well, and that was, but past RI President Barry, we cannot give up this opportunity to not hear something from you on Rotaract, especially that it happened in your year. And so how would you consider RI's position going forward over the next 3 years?
Rotaract is now a member of Rotary International, just like Rotary is a member of Rotary International. Younger, older, but equals. And so what we now have to do as an organization is go through the bylaws and constitution and see what are the differences. Don't take away their personality. Don't take away their dynamic nature and what they do and their flexibility, but give them the tools they need to have the same qualification as a Rotary club in order to do whatever a Rotary club does. As an example, the trustees need to consider how is a Rotaract club going to apply for a global grant. We need to bring them to that level. And that means they've got to make some changes as well so that they can handle that. They go through the grant seminar just like everybody else. but they basically are equal to a Rotary Club, only younger. A lot of the other has already been mentioned as far as age change and the importance of transition to Rotary, which gets to the point, it's as much as about young professionals as it is about Rotaract. Our Rotary clubs have got to do a better job of making them as a club more relevant to young professionals. Don't lose the old folks. We have our purpose too, okay? We can help mentor, we can bring our experience, we can do a whole lot of things, but let's be more relevant so young people want to be a member of our clubs. Then we've really got the best formula. Rotaract thrives, Rotaract wants to join Rotary when they're ready because Rotary is thriving. Then our organization goes off the map. That's my thinking.
Thank you very much, President Barry. I would just like to invite DGE Charles to just say some closing words on behalf of 7020.
So thank you again. This is truly a refreshing opportunity as we collaborate and on one of the most essential elements as we talk about not the future, but the now of Rotary, which is firmly vested in our youth and our youth programs. So I do want to, on behalf of the members of District 7020, to thank you, the coordinators, for tonight's session on this fundamental discussion on our youth programs. Very, very refreshing information. I was looking at the chats and a lot of new information persons were able to glean. And so I can tell that this has been very valuable to all those who participated tonight. And so thank you again and good night to everyone.
Some closing remarks, DGE Lyle.
Unscheduled, but yes. We had, as far as I could see, about 316 Rotarians, Rotaractors on the call tonight. And what I would like to assure the young leaders are that our district, our zones, are focused heavily on how we are going to deal with the COVID-19 situation. Rotaractors may feel somewhat lost, but we do have, I think it's on the 14th, we do have a session on COVID-19 that I believe Charles is leading, and we will be leading in this whole pandemic. So Rotaractors, look to your Rotarians, look to your Rotary leaders, because we are there for you and we are going to get through this together. Thanks.
Thank you very much, DG Lyle. This type of presentation is not possible with a whole team of production people in the background. And I'd just like to thank the interpreters and translators, DG Hervé, Natalie, and Vicky, for the amount of work they have been doing in the background very quietly on the French channel. To the survey team as well, Liz, who makes me, as I told Barry earlier, she makes me look really smart because she feeds me all the questions when I can't pick them up. So I'm letting out some of the secrets here tonight. So Liz, thank you very much, as well as Abe. And the Zoom coordinator, Sean, some of us thinks that he doesn't sleep, and I don't think he does, quite honestly, because he's been keeping both 7020 and 7030 very much alive on several of these Zoom presentations. So team, thank you very much. Participants, thank you very much for attending. To the presenters, thank you very much for taking your precious time and devoting to us to make sure both districts go forward in a very positive direction. We have training tomorrow, bright and early. I believe it is 10 o'clock, is it? 10 o'clock?
I'd recommend everybody comes on at 9:30 though.
9:30, yes. So we have early morning with Marnie. It will be exciting. It will help you as the secretaries and the president-elects, to try and chart your way through Rotary Club Central, which is one of the biggest sessions that you will have in trying to use that tool, Rotary Club Central, for your year. So I encourage you all to come in tomorrow. Thank you very much for coming tonight. This is me signing off. Thank you both, District 7020 and 7030.